Hello, welcome back to another session on Siva's to Learn Grammar article. This is one of the most confusing grammar part of speech for me. So tip number one, an article is a word prefixed to nouns to point them out to show how far their signification extends. For an example, a garden, an eagle, the woman. Okay. Tip number two, there are two types, a and some people say three, but a and an are same, so the other one is there. A becomes an before vowel or silent h, and a corn, an hour. Okay, so a just indicate to a and n as one, and there is another one. But if h is sounded, for an example, it is a, not an. A hand, a heart is not an hand, a heart, a highway. So tip number three. So a and an are called indefinite article. It is used to point. Out one single thing. Give me a book. Give me an apple. Right. On the other hand, there is considered as definite article. So it ascertains what particular thing or things are meant when you talk. Give me the book. So at this time, you know the book, what you are talking about. Give me the apple. So you know the apple you are talking about. For example, look at these four sentences. The son of a king, right? The son, particular son of any king. A son of a king. A son, a king. A son of the king. The king, you know, particular king, but a son. The son of the king. All these four sentences, right? Simply changing a and there. You can change the complete meaning of the sentence. So this is the difficult part. You have to be very careful. Tip number five, a noun without an article. Right? Say for an example, for man, right? A candid temper is proper for man. So in this case, generally means its widest sense. This is for all kind. So if you don't see a noun in front of if you don't see an article in front of a noun, that means they are talking in general term. Okay. And also article is omitted before noun, that simply virtues, vices, passion, science, art. Prudence is commendable. Anger ought to be avoided. Okay. So article, no article before proper nouns. Okay. Names, places, country, Ottawa, Alexander. There's no article is needed. The main thing is actually when not use article. Things in general. Cats are great pets. So you are talking about cats in general. So don't use any article. So you are not talking about one specific cat. Okay. You are talking about all cats and all pets in general. I love reading books. Okay. So in general. Women love it when men send them flowers. So in general. Houses are expensive in general in that neighborhood. Americans drive big cars. Okay. Tip number 9, when not use article, is don't use it before non-counts, because countable nouns always takes either the indefinite or definite article. On the other hand, uncountable nouns never take the definitive article, but they do take singular verbs. Say for an example, this is sometimes used with uncountable nouns, right? So information is precious commodity in a computerized world. But think about this one. This time I'll cover in another section. Okay. You may need this there, because their information, you know that what information you are talking about in your file. Okay. Sugar doesn't need an article because you are talking in general, has some uncountable noun, has become more expensive recently, but please pass me the sugar. You are talking about what sugar you are mentioning, right? So don't use their names of holidays because they are proper nouns. For Christmas, for Mother's Day, St. Patrick's Day, Valentine's Day, don't use in front of them. Okay. Don't use there in front of countries. Canada, America, they are all proper nouns. There's an exception rule in English. So some of the countries like the United States, the United Kingdom, the Czech Republic, the Philippines. So you have to use there. Okay. So there are some exception there. This is language. There is always some exception, right? Okay. Don't use there in front of companies. Twitter, Microsoft, Walmart, McDonald's, don't use it. Okay. Don't use there in front of universities, especially if they don't start with university. Example, Harvard, Oxford, Cambridge, Yale, Stanford. But if you use universities, you have to use the University of Toronto, because starting with university. So however, if the name of the university begins with university, you must use that. The University of Manchester. Okay. Don't use it in front of language, right? I am studying Russian, I am speaking French, Portuguese, means Brazil people speak Portuguese, so don't use there in front of languages. Don't use article there in front of places, locations, or some location like at home, right? To work, not unless you mean that to the work, or to jail, okay? On Main Street, okay? Don't use there, okay? Go to church in general, good night. Go to bed, okay? So you don't really need an article in front of subject you study at school, math, geography, business, history, science, okay? You don't really use article in front of sports. I love coach skiing. I play soccer. She does yoga. My daughter enjoys dancing, right? And also don't use article noun plus number in room 221, the platform 2, room 6, okay? Don't use there in front of acronyms. Acronyms mean abbreviation of word, of a name. If they are pronounced as words, say for an example, we call it NATO, right? So if we call it as a kind of pronounced as a word, not like UNATO, right? So don't use there. UNESCO, don't use there. But if you use UN, individual, if you use before the acronym, the letter are pronounced individually, then you have to use there. The UN, the EU, the US, the CIA, the FBI, right? So there is not used before the universities when they are used as acronyms and still pronounced individually as letters. Say for example, MBA, UCLA, MIT, don't use it, okay? So you have to use where the name of rivers, ocean, seas, the Nile, the Pacific, the Hindu Ocean, right? Then the points of globe, North Pole, the equator, North Pole, the South Pole. Geographical area, then you have to use there, the Middle East, the West, okay? You have to use there the desert, forest, Gulf Peninsula, the Sahara, the Persian Gulf, the Black Forest, because they are only one, right? If you put, so say for example, a man, but if you put an adjective, you have to put in between article and the noun, right? So between an article and noun. Sometimes you use a, but they really mean plural, right? A few, but they are plural. A great many men, they are plural. 100, a dozen apple, right? That means they are plural. So sometimes they still retain article a. So sometimes to express things that two things vary together, right? The more the building shook, the more we held on. The louder it became, the more we saw things falling down. The more I examined, the better. So you see, there. So express these kind of things. That's it for the article this time. So I'd like to see in another video. Good luck. See you to learn.